Hey folks, how you doing? My name's Dave McRae. Okay, look, if you follow me for any length of time on this channel, you know that I've talked about Halloween 5 a lot, and it's no secret where I stand. And listen, if you're a big Halloween 5 fan, I think that's great, sincerely. But lately I've been doing more of these shorter video essay style breakdowns, and I thought that Halloween 5 would be the perfect subject for one. So this is why Halloween 5 doesn't work, and why, in my opinion, it's really not a good film. While Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers does have its fans, it remains deeply problematic both from a storytelling and structural standpoint. As I said many years ago, it really is the catalyst that destroyed the franchise, under the weight of poor continuity, tonal inconsistency, and disregard for narrative cohesion. At its core, the film completely undermines the trajectory set by the previous film's ending, Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. That film ended on a chilling, poetic note. Young Jamie Lloyd standing at the top of the stairs, dressed in that clown costume, holding a pair of bloodied scissors in her hands, having just murdered her foster mother. And yes, murdered her because we didn't find out that she survived until Halloween 5. You see, this ending helps to reinforce one of the original Halloween's core themes, that evil never dies. And the thing is, you could have still had Michael Myers in Halloween 5 if you had gone a different direction. It wasn't an either-or situation. I'm not suggesting you had to carry on with Jamie only. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Jamie should have become the next Michael Myers or some, little tag-along buddy to Michael. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that there was a real opportunity to do something special, to show how being Michael's niece has really impacted her. You see, in Halloween 5, Jamie's character has lost so much of her agency. Instead of being an active participant in her own story, she's sort of relegated to a more passive role, either being chased or protected by others. Now, look, I get it. She's like 9 or 10 years old. While she does try to warn people and show moments of fear and resilience, her actions feel reactive rather than proactive. Unlike in Halloween 4, when Jamie's determination and resistance played a key part in driving the narrative. In Halloween 5, she's controlled by external forces, such as her doctor and the sheriff. This shift undermines her character, making her feel less empowered and diminishes the emotional weight of her journey. It's a missed opportunity, as there were numerous ways they could have kept Michael involved while still allowing Jamie to have more agency as a young girl facing incredible odds. But by abandoning what the ending of Halloween 4 set up and rendering Jamie mute moving forward, you're stripping the previous film's finale of consequence. It robs the audience of narrative payoff and breaks a key rule of storytelling: continuity. Continuity isn't just about keeping facts straight from film to film. It's about maintaining audience trust. A franchise builds that trust by showing that choices matter, that actions have consequences, and that characters evolve. Halloween 5 betrays that trust. Rather than explore the eerie implications of Halloween 4's ending while keeping Michael Myers still present, it resets the board with no real justification, weakening Jamie's arc and retroactively turning a powerful finale into a hollow gimmick. Structurally, the film is unfocused. It introduces the mysterious Man in Black and hints at a cult subplot, yet offers no explanation or groundwork. These elements aren't just confusing, they're disruptive. Look, avant-garde concepts can work in horror, but only when they serve a thematic or narrative purpose. Here, they just feel arbitrary, stitched in as setup for future installments rather than to enhance the story at hand. In its attempts to be mysterious, Halloween 5 veers way too much into incoherence. And like I said many years ago in a video, this is the catalyst. This is the point where the franchise starts to crumble. Horror thrives on escalation and payoff, on blending the familiarity with meaningful evolution. Instead of building on Halloween 4's momentum, Halloween 5, well, it largely derails it. The film feels torn between identities, part slasher, part supernatural mystery, part art house experiment, yet it commits to none of it and satisfies even less. Look, in serialized storytelling, a strong through line is essential. It keeps audiences emotionally engaged and narratively grounded. You've heard me talk about this in the past. Once that thread is broken, as it is here, regaining momentum becomes difficult. I mean, there was 6 years between Halloween 5 and Halloween 6. Halloween 5 didn't just disappoint, it destabilized the franchise's foundation, sending ripple effects that would take decades to mend. And some would argue they still haven't done it. Another major misstep in Halloween 5 is how it completely drops the ball on the emotional core established in Halloween 4. The relationship between Rachel and Jamie. You've heard me talk about this in the past too. You see, in Halloween 4, Rachel begins as a reluctant guardian, if you will, more concerned with her own teenage life than with her foster sister. And this is evident in a heartfelt exchange where Jamie asks, "Do you love me, Rachel?" And Rachel responds, "Of course I love you." And then Jamie probes a little further. "Like a sister?" To which Rachel replies, "Jamie, sometimes it's..." And then Jamie interrupts her, "Like a real sister?" And then Rachel says, "We're not real sisters, Jamie, but that doesn't mean I love you any less." It's a touching moment, and one that likely foreshadows how Rachel would come to see Jamie as a real sister by the end of the story. That journey, that emotional evolution is symbolically set in motion in that scene. But Halloween 5 completely disregards it entirely. And Rachel's behavior in Halloween 5 is inconsistent with what you would expect based on what her character had gone through in the previous film. I'll give you an example. You see, in Halloween 5, when Dr. Loomis calls Rachel and urgently asks her to check on Max, the family dog, she responds with a tone that's oddly dismissive, almost annoyed by the request.
Hello?
Oh, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just in the shower.
Is Max all right?
Max is having fun. He's been barking at a cat all morning.
Go and check him.
Well, why?
Go and check him now.
All right. All right, hold on. I have to go downstairs. Oh, brother.
This reaction feels completely out of character, especially considering the harrowing experience she and Jamie went through just a year earlier in Halloween 4. Rachel fought tooth and nail to protect Jamie from Michael Myers and was emotionally and physically scarred by it. So when Dr. Loomis, the guy that knows everything about Michael Myers and who also was there, calls with a deep sense of urgency and concern in his voice, it's jarring to see her brush it off like it's an inconvenience. I even think she rolls her eyes at one point. It breaks character continuity. As an audience member, it doesn't feel honest. I don't believe it. Rachel should have been on high alert. Her behavior in this moment undermines the emotional journey she went through and disconnects her from the bond she formed with Jamie and the trauma they endured. Rachel's behavior feels off, inconsistent with who she became in 4, and she's unceremoniously killed off early in the film. It not only robs the audience of a powerful emotional through line, but also discards the symbolic payoff of Rachel fully embracing Jamie as family. That relationship could have and should have been the heart of the 5th film. Instead, the filmmakers chose to reset, weakening the foundation built so carefully in one scene in the previous film. Another thing you could point to being a little inconsistent, if you will, is the character of Dr. Loomis. I mean, in Halloween 5, Dr. Loomis feels like a completely different character entirely sometimes. Gone is the desperate but composed doctor from the previous movies. Here, he's increasingly unhinged, erratic, and borderline abusive, especially in scenes with Jamie. His interactions with her, particularly the moment he grabs and shakes her to get answers, feel uncomfortable and out of character for a doctor of his stature. This portrayal diminishes the emotional weight and integrity Donald Pleasance brought to the role in previous movies. Instead of grounding the film, Loomis feels like a chaotic presence, which only adds to the tonal confusion. And of course, there's the mask. It might seem like a small detail to some, but the mask in Halloween 5 is one of the most criticized in the franchise. It's thinner, longer, larger, wider, and doesn't look anything like the mask from Halloween 4. I mean, listen, regardless of what you think of the mask in Halloween 4, the mask in Halloween 5 is supposed to be the same mask. And then there's the tonal whiplash with unnecessary humor. I mean, the film awkwardly injects comedic elements that clash with its supposed tone of dread and suspense. The bumbling police officers, complete with the clownish musical cues, feel like they wandered in from a different movie entirely. It undermines tension and dilutes the fear factor, a strange and unusual choice for a franchise that is supposed to be taken seriously. And then there's the psychic link between Jamie and Michael. While the idea of a psychic connection could have worked in a more thought-provoking, thought-out, refined script, Halloween 5 doesn't explore it in any meaningful way. It's introduced, used inconsistently, and then never explained. It's a concept that had potential, especially in horror, but here it's used more as a plot convenience than a compelling thematic element. And then there's the Myers house. Oh boy. Another glaring inconsistency that hurts Halloween 5 is the drastic redesign of the Myers house. And it's completely unnecessary to do this. In the original 1978 film, the Myers house is depicted as a modest, two-story little wartime home. Simple, believable, and all the more chilling because of that simplicity. But in Halloween 5, the house inexplicably becomes a sprawling Gothic mansion complete with a widening staircase, high ceilings, and bizarre architecture that looks like it belongs to Dracula, not Haddonfield. This change isn't just cosmetic. It's disorienting and breaks the visual continuity of the franchise. Look, consistency in world building is vital in long-term running series like Halloween, especially when the mythology is so tied to setting. The house should feel and look consistent. Altering it so drastically not only confuses the audience, but also undermines the eerie familiarity that made it iconic in the first place. And then, of course, there's the Man in Black, who I mentioned earlier. Introducing the Man in Black in Halloween 5 is structurally problematic because it's a clear example of mystery without purpose. It's one thing to build intrigue, but introducing a shadowy figure with no motivation, explanation, or plan is lazy storytelling. Reportedly, the character wasn't even in the original script and was added after filming had already started, at the request of director Dominic Orthinian-Girard, who openly admitted he didn't know who the Man in Black was, saying those who made Halloween 6 would figure it out. That's a major red flag. As a filmmaker, you need to know the why, not just the what. You can't rely on vague setups for future writers to resolve. Doing so undermines the integrity of the film you're making and sacrifices narrative clarity for forced suspense. While Halloween 6 eventually tried to explain the character, his inclusion introduced in Halloween 5 feels arbitrary and disconnected. It's not foreshadowing, it's guesswork, and that's no way to move the ball forward. Another problematic area with Halloween 5 is the lack of mood and atmosphere. Now listen, it's not devoid of it completely. There are some great moments, such as the very tense laundry chute scene, that do create brief flashes of suspense and dread. However, these moments are inconsistent, often interrupted by jarring shifts in tone that prevent the film from ever fully immersing the audience in a sustained feeling of terror. For instance, having Don Shanks aimlessly walking under a tree in broad daylight, which looks like he's just kicking rocks off in the distance, while Sammy and Tina chat nearby, undermines any sense of mystery or impending danger. It feels more like a crew member on set than a menacing figure. So, like I said, while Halloween 5 is not devoid of mood and atmosphere, it's tonally inconsistent and doesn't have the same kind of feeling or consistency in that mood and atmosphere as Halloween 4. Look, at the end of the day, I can throw on Halloween 5 and have fun with it too. There are some redeeming qualities to the movie, and if it's one of your favorites, that's all that matters. But its damage to the Halloween mythology from a story structure and narrative perspective is undeniable. And maybe, just maybe, that might be the real horror. My name's Dave McRae. Cheers.